The following program is underwritten by the Nevada Irrigation District. Since 1921, providing clean and healthy drinking and irrigation water to more than 24,000 homes, farms, schools, and businesses in Nevada and Placer counties.
Hi everyone, I'm your host Lew Sitzer. Thanks for watching NCTV Interviews, and this program is going to explore fantasy. We have with us today Maria Kosielowsky,
Yes.
who is a local author, and she has been in the community. We'll find out right about how long, and so please give us a little bit of a history of where you're from and how you came to be in Nevada County.
I was born and raised in Germany, in a small town. It was a comfortable small town, about 60 miles above Hamburg. I don't know, a lot of people probably don't know that. And I came in 1993 to the United States. I had my touchdown in Detroit, and I had to stay there one night. And then I ended up for about a year and a half in Denver, Colorado, where there was too much snow, and I decided to move to Oakland, California, where it's much warmer and nicer. And I lived there about for 10 years, and then I decided to move again, and I came out here to Grass Valley. Actually, I had a horse, and it's much better for a horse to live in the country than in the city.
Wonderful. And so what brought you to writing?
I always loved to read, and my grandmother and my mother always read to my brother and me and told me stories, old stories from Czechoslovakia and Poland, where the family from my mother's side came from, and I was always fascinated with scary stories. So, and when I went to school, I started writing my own little poems, and I totally forgot about it and just keep doing children things, you know. And then when I was a young woman and had my own children, I invented sometimes stories for my children, and I just thought it's maybe nice to write something. So I started writing poems again.
Mm-hmm. And given it sounds like you had a sort of a experience with folklore and folk tales from the old country that may have moved you more to the fantasy realm that you're dealing with, which seems to be more in medieval times, would you suggest?
Yeah, I would say so. I was always fascinated with medieval times, and it's too bad we have all these modern things around us. If I could jump back into the past, I would, in a flash of an eye.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though those times were called the Dark Ages by some, it must have been a time, well, I was wondering, the work that you did on your book, which is entitled A Dragon's Quest, and I'll hold it up here, but we'll also bring it up on screen, A Purple Dragon's Quest. Did you find yourself doing research for the book?
I did some research, very little research. It was just, I just sat down and wrote. I had a very bad experience, actually. I should get back a little bit in time in Oakland. It was a very traumatizing experience. And I read a novel from Marion Zimmer Bradley, who wrote The Mists of Avalon. And somehow to get over my emotional trauma, I needed to have a brain vacation. I started first collecting movies. That helped me along. And then I just thought, I might rewrite Marian's novel bought a typewriter and started rewriting Mary's novel. And then when I came to it, it was almost like something totally different emerged from that. And that was the beginning of A Purple Dragon's Quest, which I finished within 6 months.
You finished within 6 months?
Yes, I was writing and writing each time. Each day I had some time. I wrote sometimes 5 to 6 pages.
And when did, before we get into the actual story, the actual fantasy, there's so many questions, but it sounds like you had a very traumatizing experience which caused you to get a lot of emotion out of yourself, sort of kind of rid yourself of the experience. And you found writing a story or a series of adventures was a good way to do it.
It helped me greatly, but what helped me actually most to heal me totally was my horse. I bought a horse at this time. I had a nice employer. Her name is Rachel Zack, and she helped me to find that horse. And he helped me to heal totally emotionally. So it was great to have him. He passed away already, you know, but he healed me.
So a combination of horse and writing brought you here. So how, based on the Mist of Avalon, you kind of took the environment and period of time and used it to develop your story. And how did you settle on a story?
Well, I read a lot of books from Robert Jordan and Anthony, I forgot his last name, and he also writes a lot of fantasy. And I was always fascinated by fantasy. I live in my own little world, you know, so, and I just thought I might create a fantasy story, and did research, a little research, also in the medieval dark times, which were not so dark, you know. And I found it pretty challenging.
Yeah, challenging in what way?
To write in English, because English is my second language. You can hear I have an accent. I'm from Germany, you know. And when I went to school in Germany, we didn't have English then. It was not when I was born, you know, and went to school. We didn't have English then. So I learned every English I speak now in this country.
So then did you work closely with an editor in making sure that the grammar and the English was okay?
When the novel was finished, I think I had 2 people working with me on it, punctuation and pronouns and preposition and articles, because we put this in a different way, you know. And that's basically it. I used a lot of spelling check on the computer and wrote a lot with dictionary right next to me, and it worked out.
So once the novel was completed, how difficult was it to find a publisher?
I was rejected actually only 6 times, which is unusual. And then I joined a networking group in Grass Valley, Lithium. And I met somebody who works at KNCO, at our local radio station. Her name is, oh my God, it's unbelievable. I forgot her name, you know. And we talked, and she said that she has published a book, and she has published with Publisher America. And she just gave me the address. I wrote them, and they were interested. And they asked me to send a synopsis and a short cover story, and I did. And then they said, yeah, congratulations, Maria, we would like to have your novel. So that was nice.
So this is very unusual. Nowadays, people often self-publish and finance the publishing themselves and the distribution, and that's a lot of work. You managed to find an publishing company. And how recent has the book been published?
It was published in November '07. Last year.
So it's only been about 5, 6 months.
Yeah.
And what has been the response so far, do you know?
Well, I'm not entirely sure about that, so I don't know. response. So,
The checks, the royalties haven't been rolling in?
No, they haven't been, no.
Okay.
That takes
Nobody's
a while.
contacted you yet for a screenplay, adaptation for the movies?
No, that would be wonderful if they did, you
Yeah.
know, so I would like that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the book. What age group, was it directed towards any certain age group?
I think it is rather contemporary. Everybody could read that, I
So
think.
anyone from junior high school up, or high
I
school?
think smaller than that.
Even younger?
Yeah, yeah. Because there is really no sexual contents in this, and not a lot of.
Or objectionable language?
No, nothing. No, actually, no.
So I'm thinking back about Grimm's fairy tales and all of the wonderful stories that as children we grew up with. Sounds like this book could be read to younger children as well.
Yeah, but Grimm's stories were actually pretty cruel.
I
If
know,
you
they were
know,
violent,
so
yeah.
very violent and
Yeah.
cruel. The way he wrote it, you know. So
Yeah. Well, that's probably one of the reasons was successful. You know, it has lasted so long.
yeah.
Any age group. Let's see. In terms of the story, let's get into the content. How would you describe the story?
I think it's an easy book to read. It's the pace is very easy and understandable. My characters, of course, they're just made-up characters, not based on real people or other people's books.
And there are two main characters.
Yes,
The dragon.
of course.
And the dragon seems to be, from what I can tell, maybe even more important than the hero.
The dragons were always very special to me. And if I could, and there would be a dragon, I would buy the first dragon, probably, you know, and ride the dragon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go into raising dragons.
Yes, raising dragons.
And so how would you describe this dragon?
I think he's a very lovable creature, funny at times, serious, sad that his mother left him in our, so to say, realm, that he has to fulfill his quest, and he longs for his mom, and he would like to be with her, but he can't be with her. He has to fulfill his quest, and this is what he's working on.
And what is it, exposing too much of the book to say what his quest is?
He needs to destroy the evil in the country of Calabera, which is imperative for him to do.
And does he essentially verbalize his language? Is it internal that we hear him speaking, or that we hear his thoughts, or do we actually hear him speaking?
We actually hear him speak. He actually talks. So he has the fantasy ability to do that. Fantasy creatures talk.
Right. And then you have this other character, male hero.
Yeah.
And what's his name?
His name is Baran. He is on a quest to look for his sister. And eventually the dragon and Baran meet in Calabera. But Baran resents the dragon very much because the dragon likes Baran's sister a lot, and he doesn't understand that his sister could like a dragon, and that the dragon is actually immortal, and he has to go with the dragon into combat, and he kind of doesn't like that, so he resents the dragon.
So they have to work out this relationship.
Yes, they work on this relationship.
And are there surprises that await us reading the book that we shouldn't know about right now?
Yeah.
There are surprises,
Yeah.
which I would assume help the relationship to work.
Yeah, eventually they will have a relationship which is not a hate relationship anymore.
Right,
Baran will actually find out it's very good actually to go to battle with a dragon.
Oh, I would think. Yeah, you'd want a dragon on your side.
Yeah.
Right. And so this story worked out. When you were writing it, did you have any idea of how it would end? Or did it evolve slowly as you were writing?
Actually, it went very fast. It just came all out. And I didn't have to think a lot what I wanted to write. I just kind of knew what I wanted to write. I don't know how to explain it. It's just this book was totally in me, and it just came out, you know. And I'm writing right now on my second novel. It's the same thing, you know. It's already 3/4 done, and I have a big quarter to do. But it's just I sit down and write. What is very inspiring to me is in the background I play classical music. I take my breaks, walk my dogs, take care of my cats, and then go right back and start where I left off. So it's just, I like writing.
And when you're in the, it sounds like what I've heard others say, that they kind of get in this zone where it's almost written, in a sense. They just have to put it outside themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a lovely experience. And do you come out of writing feeling, how do you come out feeling when you've written?
Oh, when I wrote 5 to 6 pages, I just feel wonderful. You know, during the day, actually, I have a lot of time thinking. I have a small cleaning business, and most of the time I'm alone in my client's house, and I can think a lot, cleaning along and thinking about my novel. It helps me a lot. It's very inspiring, cleaning.
Well, great. So
yeah.
we can also, at some point during the program, put your number up, and if people want to contact you about writing or cleaning.
Yes, they can do that. Or my email address.
Okay.
I would love to talk to people.
Yeah. So this next book that you're writing, oh, actually, I don't know if we should, this next book that you're writing, is it similar in nature or different?
It is also a fantasy novel, but the biggest part is not the dragon. There is a dragon also in it, but he doesn't play the biggest part. It is more about a matriarch, a warrior queen who has her own castle and has a lot of black knights, and they go out to battle and they start trading with other countries, and that is the country of Trelane.
And for this one, did you also do not a whole lot of research?
None research at all. It just...
So it's like the story resides in you.
Yes, yeah.
Well, great. And when you publish a second book, does it mean that your publisher is interested and maybe will continue with the second?
I'm not sure yet. I have not approached my publisher about that. I just wanted to finish it first and see how it goes along. I'm not sure yet, do I let my main character still live or do I let him die? So I don't know anything about the end right now.
So you're not sure as to whether or not it will continue as a trilogy or a series of some kind?
You know, to be quite honest, I'm not sure I have the faculties to write a sequel or something like this. I think I need to grow older for doing that, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, in writing the book, and this next one as well, do you learn from the experience, and what is it that you might be learning as you do the writing and complete the stories?
As a writer?
As a writer, whether you learn more about the craft of writing or learn more about yourself?
You know, I was very well educated in Germany, and I always believed in more education. So I went continuously to school, and I think this has helped me a lot of realizing how important it is to be very well educated. If you're very well educated and you know a lot about different things, you can talk about a lot of different things with different kinds of people. And actually, writing in English, it's very interesting and has helped me a lot to learn a lot of different kind of English words, you know, so it's fun. I just like it.
And so when you write like this, I guess it's very satisfying, and I'm wondering about your interest in the period and whether that develops as you sort of work with your own knowledge. Does it develop additional curiosity that you have about looking into more of the period?
You know, I quite don't know. I think I have probably lived several lives in medieval times. This is why I probably can write about this. I don't need to do research or steal from other authors. It's just, I just know. I don't know where it comes from.
So it's really an exploration of your own memories and fantasies.
Yeah.
That's great. And so you feel this real affinity for that period of time, and you say you would like to go back to it.
Yeah.
And what is it that attracts you about medieval? It's also, as an ex-history teacher, we learned to put aside the description of dark ages, because as people research that period of time, as you say, it wasn't dark.
No, it was not that dark. No.
People had lives. The civilizations changed. It was less cities, more serfdoms, and what went on in villages. But what is it that attracts you to that period?
I don't want to say that life was more simpler. I think people worked very hard to make a living when they were pagans. And I think there were a lot of wars. What attracts me? I would say a dashing knight on a white horse. I don't know. Country life itself, and the air was cleaner, and you had so much more freedom, so to say, to live in this time.
So in a sense, you really don't explore the life of a serf in a serfdom, which would be less pleasant.
Right.
You know, it would be very, very much hardship.
Yes.
So it's looking at the times of King Arthur in the and
the Round Table,
and the Round Table, and the realm. And so, what purpose do you think stories like this have in the world? I mean, they have come down to us from centuries, as well as the ones you're writing now and others are writing now. What purpose do you think they work for us in our own lives?
Personally, for me, I think it helps me to get away from our electronic age, digital things. Children sit too much in front of a computer or do these weird beep, 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 beep games. They don't know nothing else. There's no education, there's no thinking, you know, and I think it would be better if they would grab a book and read. Maybe something's different than seeing violent games, you know.
Yeah, I'm also troubled right now by this, but right now our son is visiting. He lives in Taiwan and China, and he's very much tied into the internet and the iPod and all these electronic devices, and it's and I sit at night with a book, and there's a real difference, and I'm trying to say that, you know, there really is, okay, you know, do your electronic things, but also have a life, you know, and of course book reading exercises the imagination a bit more than what we see on TV and listen to and so forth. So it is a struggle to convey the value of the past.
It's just, if you sit in front of a computer or do your iPods or whatever those kids these days do, they just stare, they don't think and they don't read, and I think reading can teach you so much more to be verbally very good, and it helps you also to write, because if you see a word, you know how to write it. A lot of people these days don't know how to write, and I find that weird.
Right.
You know?
And even so, we may be also losing some of our social skills in relating to one another, because there's so much being done electronically. Yeah, and of course people who are watching this show, I mean, you're watching it on TV, and so it's another electronic version of life. It's a tool, you know, all these devices are tools, and enabling us to live life in a better way. Yeah. And so when you coming back to your book, you know, it's focused on relationships and quests and challenges. And so do you find that there's some ways in which your characters are able to work through their challenges? I mean, how is it?
I think I put a lot of my own challenges in this book through my trauma I had in Oakland, and if you knew me, you would know what I went through when you read this novel. It reflects me. I talk through my characters to get rid of my pain, you know. So you will read into it.
And so in book 2, are you also working with some of those same painful experiences?
No, no, it's gone, you know, it's gone. I got over it. I mean, I don't dwell on things. It was a bad time. I had that experience, but I got over it. You know, I don't dwell on times. Oh my God, I was abused, and oh my God, this and that. You know, it's not me. I just had it, and that's over and done with. And now I'm focusing on something totally different.
Mm-hmm. So it's a way to heal,
yeah.
And it's also a way to participate more fully in your own gifts.
Yeah.
Because what I get is that writing has been a gift to you
mm-hmm.
throughout your life,
yeah.
And you're just now bringing it out in public.
Yeah.
And so
I wish I would have done that earlier, but I never had the possibility to do that.
well, it's good that you're doing it now.
Yeah.
I mean, because here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, I want to congratulate you on the book.
Thank you.
You've had a book signing.
Yes, a small book signing in Penn Valley, yeah.
And are there any other plans?
Yes, I try to. Maybe next month I will try to.
Good.
Mm.
And I would imagine, where is the book available?
Barnes & Noble and online and through the publisher, and if you have the ISBN number, you can get it actually everywhere.
And how about some of the local bookstores, like Bookseller in Grass Valley?
Yeah, they can order that.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have it on the shelves right now?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't looked.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, of course, other bookstores around.
Yeah.
Online is a very easy way,
mm-hmm.
but we try to encourage people to buy locally, because it
Yes.
supports our local economy.
Yes, it does.
And our local efforts. And I want to, in the process of congratulating you, I also want to encourage viewers to become a member of NCTV. You can see what we're about in supporting local talent and introducing people from the community who
mm-hmm.
have gifts to share.
Yes.
And also I want to thank Marilyn Blom, who is in our control room with Bill Carquest, our engineer.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank Gail Woodman, who is assisting us on floor manager, and who is alerting me to the fact that our show has run out of time.
Yeah.
So please consider coming back when we hear about the second book
Yes,
and
I
how it
certainly
goes. And it's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you very much, Lew.
Right, and so please do think about becoming a member of NCTV. We need your support, and we would love to continue to grow. We've now gone to a second channel, Channel 17, and many of you know that. And so please continue to watch NCTV. Thanks a lot for your support, and drop on by when you have a chance. Thanks a lot.